You know, when you picture a jungle, you probably think about what's happening down on the ground. But what if I told you that high above, hidden in the canopy, there are entire kingdoms? Floating kingdoms, ruled by some of the most amazing creatures you can imagine.
And these kingdoms are run by masters who are both beautiful and deadly. We're talking about brilliant architects and relentless warriors, all locked in a constant, never-ending war for the survival of their people. Hey everyone, welcome! Today we are diving headfirst into the absolutely incredible world of the weaver ant. And if you're into discovering these kinds of hidden stories from the natural world, do me a quick favor and hit that subscribe button. You are not going to want to miss what we've got coming up.
All right, so who exactly are these masters of the treetops? Well, a great way to think about them is like the high elves of the ant kingdom. Yeah, they're elegant, they're sophisticated, and they are unbelievably skilled. So let's meet them. This is the Oecophila weaver ant. And honestly, with those long, slender legs and big eyes, they're kind of cute, right? But don't let that fool you for a second. They've got these powerful mandibles and, get this, they can shoot formic acid. So yeah, they're also very, very effective killers.
And their society? Oh, it's just as complex as their buildings. It's almost like a little medieval kingdom. You've got your different classes, right? First, there are the majors. Think of them as the knights and the engineers. They do all the heavy lifting, the fighting, the building. Then you have the miners, who are smaller. They're like the artisans, handling all the delicate work inside the nest. And of course, at the very center of this empire, tucked away in a super guarded nest, you have the queen. Her job? Just laying hundreds of eggs, every single day.
Okay, but the thing that really truly sets these ants apart, the thing that makes them the absolute masters of the canopy, is how they build their castles. I'm not kidding, it's one of the most incredible construction methods you'll find anywhere in the animal kingdom.
So picture this, they're making these amazing nests out of leaves way up in the treetops. But, they don't have super glue, they don't have nails, so how on earth do they stick it all together?
Well, the answer is both brilliant and kind of weird. First, worker ants will line up, sometimes forming these living chains to pull the edges of leaves together. But then comes the secret weapon. Other workers show up carrying the colony's own babies, the larvae, and they gently tap the larvae on the head, which makes them release this super sticky silk thread. Yeah, you heard me right. They use their own kids as tiny living glue guns to literally sew their house together. How cool is that?
And with a building technique that wild, they don't just stop at one nest. Oh no, they build entire empires. We're talking sprawling networks of castles and outposts that can stretch for ages across the treetops.
So, just how big are we talking? Well, the largest weaver ant kingdom ever found was a staggering 1,600 square meters. Now that might just sound like a number, so let's put it in perspective. That is the size of 4 basketball courts. 4! For tiny little ants, just a centimeter long, that is a mind-boggling amount of territory to control and to defend. By the way, if you think these little ant empires are as cool as I do, hitting that subscribe button is the best way to make sure you catch our next explainer. Just saying.
So okay, how did they even manage a territory that big? Well, they build dozens and dozens of nests, all scattered throughout their kingdom. Each one of these leafy structures is like a specialized building. You've got barracks for soldiers, pantries for food, nurseries for the babies, and they're all connected by twigs and vines that are basically their suspension bridges. It is a literal city in the sky.
And this is where they show how smart they are. I mean, a single colony can have 500,000 citizens. That's a lot of mouths to feed. So they make a deal with the tree they live in. The tree gives them a safe place to live, access to sweet sap for food, and even a place to farm their own version of cattle, little aphids that produce honeydew. And what does the tree get in return? A personal army. The ants protect it from any dangerous pests and will even team up to scare off huge animals that try to eat the leaves. It's a win-win, a perfect partnership.
So, a floating kingdom, this perfect deal with their home. Sounds like a pretty sweet life, right? An ant paradise? Well, there's a dark side, a really dark side, because their entire existence is built on constant, brutal conflict. See, just like with human empires, every queen wants to conquer.
And when these ant kingdoms clash, it is all-out war. I mean, thousands of soldiers will gather for a single invasion, just to steal a bit of territory. The second they're spotted, defending patrols release these alarm pheromones. It's like a chemical air raid siren. Reinforcements come pouring in from all over, following the scent trails to the front lines. The combat is just savage. Major workers circle each other, mandibles wide open, trying to grab and pin their enemy.
And then the chemical weapons come out, with both sides just spraying burning formic acid at each other. And the goal isn't just to win, it's to completely destroy the enemy soldier. Once an ant is pinned down, a group will just swarm it. They rip the victim apart, clipping off antennae and legs, slicing open their abdomens. It's a level of brutality that's almost hard to wrap your head around.
And here's the kicker. These massive battles, the ones that leave thousands of dead piled up on the forest floor, they aren't special occasions. This isn't a once-a-year thing. For them, this is just life. It's a constant, incredibly costly, but absolutely necessary part of survival. If they want to expand or even just defend what they have to fight. End of story.
So when you look at this whole picture, what's the big takeaway from these amazing floating kingdoms? Well, it really boils down to a pretty simple and maybe universal truth about power.
See, for the weaver ants, land, fertile territory is everything. It's the key to survival. If a kingdom starts losing ground, it's going to shrink, get overrun, or just starve to death. That means they are always, forever driven to expand, to conquer, to take more. It's a timeless cycle, really, just played out in miniature, high up in the jungle canopy. Because as we know, empires, well, they never, ever have enough. What an incredible world, right? Thanks so much for joining me on this dive into it. Hey, if you had fun with this one, please consider subscribing and joining the community. We've got another explainer coming up soon. I'll see you then.